Aloha and welcome to this really quick screencast where I want to illustrate how data um, flows through a Meteor application. Just to briefly review, the way Meteor works is you have a MongoDB database on the server side that runs in conjunction with the application server process. And then each client within the browser, within the client browser, runs a little mini Mongo, kind of a little local database that looks almost like MongoDB, but doesn't have quite all the facilities of MongoDB. And the way you get data back and forth between the client and the server is you do these things called subscriptions. So a page will subscribe to a particular portion of the data in the server, and then Meteor is responsible for sending that data over to the page, and then the page can, can do a find, can do an operation on its little mini Mongo database to get the data. So I want to show you how that works, and in order to make it real easy to understand, and what I recommend that you do is download this application. It's a free application called Robo3T, which is a visual way to look at MongoDB databases, and it's just going to make it a lot easier for you to understand what's going on. So you can download that, and then I'll show you how it works. I'm going to use Meteor application template to illustrate this. Remember, we have this very simple data model where we have one collection called stuff, and we send things back and forth. So let's look at the list stuff page. We're seeing some data here, and it's probably good to just kind of look at the source code for the list stuff page. In particular, you can see that we have this subscription where we say we're going to subscribe to the subscription name stuff. And then if we look in the publications file, we can see that the stuff publication, which is listed right here, is going to say, okay, well, we're going to find the current user, and then we're just going to return the stuff documents for which this user is the owner, is in the owner field. Okay? So how does that really work in practice? Let's go back here, and the first thing I want to note is if we do a propeller meta J to display the Chrome developer tools, and if you've installed the Meteor plugin, which you definitely need to do, you can click on this Meteor tab, and then you can click on Mini Mongo. And that's really cool because that enables you to see the contents of Mini Mongo. All right, and in this case, what we can see is that there's two fields in it. And you can see we've displayed both of those fields in a more user-friendly form in this page. Okay, that's all fine and good, right? Now let's do something. Let's move to a different page. Add stuff. Okay, we've just moved to the add stuff page, and lo and behold, the stuffs collection now has no elements in it. Okay, so this is one of the subtleties of using Meteor that you have to get used to, which is that the contents of Mini Mongo is really page specific. Every time you go to a new page, you're going to have potentially different contents in Mini Mongo. Why is that? It's because let's look at the add stuff page. If we look at the add stuff page, we can see it doesn't subscribe to anything. There's no subscriptions in here, so therefore, Mini Mongo's not going to have any data in it. Okay, let's go back to the list stuff page. All of a sudden, you can see, bam, in a blink of an eye, all of a sudden, we've got data in Mini Mongo, and that's, of course, because when we navigate to the list stuff page, we execute this subscription, which retrieves all of the, as we note from before, it retrieves all of the documents for which this user is the owner. Okay? So that's kind of cool. It's cool to keep the Meteor Mini Mongo tab open as you navigate around because you can see, depending on where you are, you're going to have different values in the database, and that's really useful. And you can do things like see what the contents are and so forth. All right, so that's the client side. It's also really helpful to look at the server side and see what's in there, and that's where Robo3T is useful. So if I bring up what you need to do is you need to make a connection to localhost colon 3001. That's the port that the development version of MongoDB runs on. We'll see in a later screencast, once you've deployed to Atlas and Galaxy, we're going to have to change this to connect to our cloud-based database. But right now, everything's running locally. So we've got our mini Mongo, our MongoDB server-side process running or available through localhost 3000. So we click connect there. We get this screen that comes up. We've got a Meteor database, and we look inside and we see collections, and we see there's the stuff collections. I can double click it, okay, and now I see all of the information about this particular collection, which is relatively uninteresting. Well, I guess the interesting thing about it is that you can see that on the server side, the stuffs collection has 4 items. It has the items associated with John and the items associated with admin@foo.com. Yet when we go here and we're logged in as a non-administrative user, we're seeing only the items associated with that user, which is just 2 items. Okay, so there's a simple situation in which the contents of mini Mongo differs from the contents of the server side. Okay, let's do something for fun. Let's mess things up. So first of all, let's say, okay, here we are in list stuff. Let's misspell this, okay? And then we'll restart the system so we can see it's restarted. And now if we go here, we get this getting data, okay? And there's nothing in mini Mongo, all right? So what's happening is the system, Meteor is stuck, okay? It's trying to complete a subscription to some subscription named StuffDD, which does not exist. So we're kind of going to pause forever. So if you see this getting data that doesn't go away, if this happens, it should only happen for a second. Okay, in large applications that are downloading thousands or tens of thousands of documents, you could see this spinner for quite a while. But this in your case, if you see this for more than a half a second, or at all even, it means that you probably messed up your subscriptions in some way. In this case, it's the problem is we've misspelled it. So if we do that stuff, we refresh, everything goes back to normal. All right. Let's just show, okay, let's add something. Let's add, surfboard. Quantity 5, condition excellent, submit. Okay, so we've just added a surfboard. Let's go to Robo3T to see that. So we go here, and we go to, and we're in our stuffs collection. Wait a second, I don't see a surfboard. Okay, that's because Robo3T is not reactive in the same way Meteor is. It doesn't automatically update things. What you have to do is you have to right-click on stuffs, and I'm sorry. Let's see. You have to double click. Okay, is the appropriate Robo3T. So double click this. That basically re-retrieves the contents of the stuffs collection, and now you can see our surfboard document is in there. One minor note that you'll run into later. Once you have multiple collections, if there are no documents in a collection, it's not even created on the server side. And once you add a document, the first document to a collection, in order to see it, you have to refresh the set of collections. But we don't have multiple collections in this particular application, so you won't see that. But just to let you know, refresh will check to see if there are any new collections. Double-clicking on a collection name will re-retrieve all the documents, and if they're new ones, it'll be there. Okay, last thing. On the development side, what happens if you want to start over? Okay, the idea there is you do a Control-C, and then you do Meteor Reset. And what that does is that cleans out the Meteor Mongo database. Okay, so, but the system stopped now. So let's see what happens if we try to, refresh this. Okay, what we can see is, you know, things don't work right now because we don't have an actual Mongo running. So we can go back to here. Let's just see what happens. I don't know what'll happen, but let's see if we double click this. Okay, we cannot connect to MongoDB at localhost 3001 because it's not available. So let's start up Meteor npm run start. So remember, this is going to start up two processes, one running at localhost 3000, which you can connect to through a browser, and one running at localhost 3001, which you can connect to with Robo3T, and that will give you access to the data in the database on the server side. Okay, so the app is starting up. Okay, so now 3000 has the client side stuff, and if we go, just refresh this, got to log in. John. Yeah. There we go. Okay, and now we can see the stuff. It's reset. We don't have our surfboards in there anymore. Mini Mongo is displaying the right thing. And then finally, if we bring up Robo3T, we can now connect. We can look in Meteor, look in collections, double-click stuffs, and we get our 4 items. All right, so that's a little overview of the way data works in Meteor. You've got a server-side MongoDB collection. You've got subscriptions that are at the level of a page. So every page is going to populate the mini Mongo, the local client-side mini Mongo database with a certain amount of data, and that data is going to change. So right now, I've got 2 elements in the stuff collections. If I go to a page that doesn't subscribe, all of a sudden there's no data in the stuffs collection. That's a cool thing, actually. It means that your size of your database isn't going to get enormous. There are ways in which you can avoid this. You might say to yourself, well, this is crazy. Every time I go to this page, I have to do a call to the server side to get the data. I don't think that's a good idea. And in fact, there are ways to avoid that when you want to scale things up. But at this point in your development, these performance issues are not important. And just rest assured, you can overcome them when you need to. Right now, the most important thing is to have the right amount of data available to you when you need it.